Nothing happens by chance means your life is not random, your pain is not meaningless, and your struggles are not proof that you are unlucky. They are proof that you are being shaped for something bigger, even if right now it feels confusing, heavy, or unfair. Because if you look back honestly at your life, you will realize that the moments that hurt you the most also taught you the most. The failures that broke your confidence also forced you to grow. And the delays that frustrated you also protected you from paths you were not ready for. And this understanding changes everything, because when you stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that is building you, you stop asking why me and start asking what is this preparing me for? And that shift alone turns pain into purpose, because nothing happens by chance means every challenge carries a lesson, and every lesson carries power if you are brave enough to face it. And most people suffer twice, once from the pain itself and once from refusing to learn from it. But when you accept that nothing is random, you stop wasting energy on bitterness and start investing energy in growth. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start acting like the owner of your response, because you may not control what happens to you, but you fully control what it turns you into. And that responsibility is heavy, but it is also freeing, because it means your future is not limited by your past. It is shaped by what you do next. And this is where resilience is born, not from pretending everything is okay, but from trusting that even the worst moments are part of a bigger picture you cannot yet see. And when you truly believe that nothing happens by chance, you stop quitting early, because you understand that walking away too soon might mean walking away right before the lesson transforms into strength. And you stop comparing your journey to others, because you realize their timing is not your timing and their struggles are not your struggles, and comparison only steals focus from the work you need to do. And this belief also forces you to respect time, because if nothing is accidental, then every day matters, every decision matters, every habit matters. And wasting time becomes unacceptable when you understand that today is shaping who you will be tomorrow. And this awareness builds discipline, because you no longer wait to feel motivated. You act because you know your actions are planting seeds, whether you are aware of it or not. And some seeds take longer to grow, but that does not mean they are dead. It just means they are growing roots where no one can see. And when life feels slow or progress feels invisible, remembering that nothing happens by chance keeps you grounded. It reminds you to stay consistent, to keep learning, to keep showing up, because clarity often comes after endurance, not before it. And one day you will look back and connect the dots. You will understand why you had to struggle, why you had to fail, why you had to wait. And in that moment, you will realize that the version of you who survived those days was necessary to carry the life you are building now. And that realization will give you peace, strength, and gratitude, because you will finally know that you were never lost. You were being prepared. Living your best life is a daily decision, not a feeling, because feelings change with the weather, with sleep, with mood, with circumstances. But decisions build direction, and most people stay stuck because they wait to feel ready, motivated, confident, or inspired before they act, not realizing that readiness is created by action, not emotion. And if you only move when you feel good, you will live a small and limited life, because growth often feels uncomfortable, boring, lonely, and heavy before it ever feels rewarding. And this is where discipline becomes the difference between people who talk about change and people who actually change. Because discipline means you show up even when your mind is tired, even when your heart feels heavy, even when results are slow. And choosing to live your best life means you stop negotiating with excuses. You stop giving your comfort the final vote, and you start asking yourself a deeper question every day. What kind of person am I becoming through the choices I am making right now? Because your life is not built in big dramatic moments. It is built in quiet daily decisions. The decision to wake up on time, the decision to train your mind instead of scrolling, the decision to work on yourself when no one is watching. And these decisions might feel small in the moment, but they are shaping your identity. And identity shapes destiny. And when you decide daily to live your best life, you stop blaming circumstances, because responsibility replaces excuses, and responsibility is not a burden, it is power, because it puts your future back in your hands. and you start understanding that waiting for motivation is a trap, because motivation is a visitor, but discipline is a resident, and only residents build homes. And on days when you feel lost, tired, or hopeless, discipline becomes the bridge that carries you forward when emotions cannot. And that is why consistency matters more than intensity, because intensity burns fast and fades, but consistency builds strength quietly over time. And some days your best will feel small, but showing up still counts, because progress is not about perfection, it is about persistence. And when you commit to daily improvement, you stop expecting instant results. You learn patience, you learn trust, you learn to respect the process. This mindset protects you from quitting too early, because most people quit not because they cannot succeed, but because they underestimate how long it takes. And choosing daily discipline also means accepting that your best life will require sacrifice. It will require saying no to distractions, no to excuses, no to habits that keep you stuck. But every no is actually a yes to your future. And over time, these decisions strengthen your self-belief, because confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. And each day you follow through, your inner voice gets stronger, calmer, more certain, and eventually living your best life stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like alignment, because your actions match your values. And when that happens, you feel grounded even in chaos, focused even in doubt, and proud even when the journey is hard, because you know you are doing the work. And one day you will look back and realize that the life you once dreamed of was built by ordinary days where you chose discipline over comfort, responsibility over excuses, and consistency over quitting. Your mind must be trained before your life can change, because every action you take, every habit you repeat, and every limit you accept is first created in your thoughts. And if your mind is weak, distracted, or full of doubt, no opportunity, talent, or motivation will save you, because an untrained mind will sabotage even the best chances. And this is why so many people stay stuck in the same place for years, not because they lack ability, but because they never learned how to control the voice inside their head, the voice that whispers fear, hesitation, excuses, and self-doubt. And training your mind does not mean pretending everything is positive. It means learning how to respond instead of react, how to choose discipline over emotion, how to direct your focus instead of letting it wander wherever fear pulls it. Because your mind believes what you consistently tell it. And if you keep repeating that you are tired, unlucky, or not good enough, your mind will obey and shape your actions around those beliefs. But when you start telling yourself, I am the best, I can do anything, my future is bright, not as empty motivation, but as commands backed by effort, your mind begins to adapt. Because the brain is a tool, and tools respond to use. And repetition builds belief, but belief only becomes powerful when it is supported by action. Because confidence without action is fragile, but confidence built through effort is unshakable. And training your mind also means learning how to sit with discomfort without running from it. Because growth feels uncomfortable before it feels rewarding. And if your mind is not trained to tolerate discomfort, it will always choose the easy path, even when the easy path leads nowhere. And this is why discipline is mental training. It teaches your mind that feelings are temporary, but commitments are permanent. And over time, your mind stops panicking at difficulty and starts seeing it as a signal of progress. And when that shift happens, you stop asking, can I handle this, and start saying, I handle whatever comes. And that mindset changes how you move through life, because setbacks stop feeling like threats and start feeling like lessons. And failures stop feeling personal and start feeling instructional. And this mental strength also protects you from external noise, from opinions, criticism, comparison, and negativity, because a trained mind does not outsource its self-worth. It does not collapse every time someone doubts it. It stays anchored in purpose and effort. And as you continue training your mind daily through discipline, focus, self-talk, and consistency, something powerful happens. Your inner world becomes calmer, clearer, stronger. And when your inner world changes, your outer world follows, not instantly, not magically, but inevitably, because actions flow from thoughts, habits flow from beliefs, and life follows habits. And one day you will realize that the biggest change in your life did not come from a new opportunity or a lucky break. It came from the day you decided to stop letting your mind control you and started training it to serve the life you were building. No shortcuts and no excuses is where real transformation begins, because shortcuts might give you temporary comfort, but they steal long-term confidence. And excuses might protect your ego, but they destroy your potential. And most people do not fail because they are incapable. They fail because they keep looking for an easier way instead of committing to the work required. And every time you choose a shortcut, you are teaching your mind that effort is optional. And once effort becomes optional, discipline disappears. And without discipline, nothing strong can be built, because shortcuts create fragile results. Results that collapse the moment pressure appears, while hard work builds depth, skill, resilience, and self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of confidence, because confidence does not come from praise or success. It comes from knowing you did the work, even when it was hard, even when no one was watching, even when quitting would have been easier. And eliminating excuses is painful at first, because excuses feel comfortable. They give you reasons to stay where you are, but comfort is dangerous when it keeps you stuck. And the moment you stop making excuses, you also stop lying to yourself. And truth is uncomfortable, but it is also freeing, because it puts your future back in your control. And when you fully accept that no one is coming to save you, something powerful happens. You stop why. You start building, and this mindset forces you to take ownership of your time, your energy, and your effort. Because you understand that every excuse costs you progress, and every honest hour of work moves you forward, even if the results are not visible yet. And this is where patience becomes essential, because hard work without shortcuts often feels slow, but slow progress is still progress. And slow progress that continues will always beat fast progress that stops. And when you commit to honest work, your standards rise, because you stop measuring yourself by results alone and start measuring yourself by effort, consistency, and growth. And that shift changes everything, because now, even on days when results are missing, you still win because you showed up. And over time, this builds an unshakable inner confidence, the kind that does not depend on applause or validation, because you know what you put in. And this also makes you resilient, because when life hits you hard, you do not collapse. You fall back on your work ethic, your discipline, your habits, and your routines, and those things hold you steady. And eliminating excuses also means accepting that some days will be harder than others. Some days you will be tired, unmotivated, or frustrated. But those days still count, because showing up on hard days trains your identity. It tells your mind that you are someone who does not quit when it gets uncomfortable. And over time, that identity becomes your strength. And one day you will realize that the hard work you once resisted became the reason you believe in yourself. Because there is no stronger confidence than the confidence built by doing the work you once thought you could not do. Becoming immune to opinions and criticism is not about pretending that words do not hurt. It is about deciding that other people's voices will never be louder than your purpose. Because if you live for approval, you will always live in fear. And fear is the fastest way to shrink your potential. And the truth is, no matter what path you choose, someone will disagree, someone will doubt you, someone will criticize you, and if you allow every opinion to affect you, you will spend your life changing direction instead of building momentum. And most people stay stuck not because they lack talent, but because they give too much power to people who are not living their life, not fighting their battles, and not paying the price required to grow. And criticism often says more about the speaker than the listener, because people project their limitations, fears, and regrets onto anyone brave enough to try. And understanding this gives you clarity, because you stop taking everything personally and start filtering what deserves your attention. And becoming mentally immune does not mean ignoring all feedback. It means learning the difference between constructive guidance and destructive noise. And destructive noise is easy to recognize because it drains your energy, confuses your focus, and feeds doubt without offering growth. And once you recognize that, you stop carrying words that were never meant to help you. And this immunity is built through self-belief, through discipline, through consistency, because when you are working daily, improving daily, and keeping promises to yourself, external opinions lose their power, because your confidence is rooted in effort, not validation, and effort cannot be taken away by someone's words. And this also protects your time and energy, because reacting to negativity is expensive. It steals focus from your goals and feeds distractions that do no thing for your future. And when you stop reacting, when you stay calm and focused, you gain an edge, because while others are busy talking, you are building, and over time your results speak louder than any argument ever could. And there will be moments when criticism comes from people close to you, and those moments are especially hard, but even then you must remember that love does not always equal alignment, and not everyone will understand your vision, especially if they have never dared to chase their own, and that does not make them enemies. It simply means you must protect your path, and protecting your path is an act of self-respect. And as you grow, your tolerance for negativity decreases, not because you are arrogant, but because you are focused. And focus requires boundaries, and one day you will realize that the opinions that once controlled you no longer matter, because you have built something stronger inside yourself, a sense of purpose, clarity, and direction that does not shake every time someone speaks, and that is freedom. The freedom to move forward without carrying the weight of other people's expectations. Getting up again every time is the real measure of strength. Because failure is unavoidable, setbacks are guaranteed, and pain is part of any meaningful journey, but quitting is always a choice, and the difference between those who build powerful lives and those who stay stuck is not talent or luck. It is the refusal to stay down when life knocks them to the ground. And most people fear failure not because it hurts, but because they attach their identity to it. They believe falling means they are weak, broken, or not meant for more. But the truth is, falling is human, staying down is optional, and every time you get up again, you are rewriting the story you tell yourself about who you are. Because resilience is not loud, it is quiet. It is the decision to stand back up when no one is cheering, when no one knows how hard it is, when doubt feels heavy and hope feels distant. And that decision strengthens your character more than any easy win ever could. And getting up again teaches you patience, because progress is rarely straight. It moves forward, backward, sideways, and sometimes not at all. But resilience teaches you to keep going even when clarity is missing. And this persistence builds trust in yourself, because you start to realize that no matter what happens, you will not abandon yourself. And that trust is powerful, because when you trust yourself to survive hard moments, fear loses its control over you, and you stop avoiding challenges and start facing them with courage. And getting up again also teaches humility, because failure strips away ego and forces you to learn, to adapt, to grow, and those lessons stay with you longer than success ever does. And each time you rise after a fall, you become wiser, calmer, and stronger. And this cycle slowly builds confidence, not the loud kind, but the deep kind that comes from experience. And resilience also changes how you view time, because you stop rushing, you stop expecting instant results, and you learn to respect the process, because you understand that lasting growth takes repetition, patience, and endurance. And this mindset protects you from burnout, because you no longer see setbacks as signs to stop, but as signals to adjust, rest, learn, and continue. And one of the most important parts of getting up again is gratitude. Gratitude for the strength you did not know you had. Gratitude for the lessons hidden inside pain. Gratitude for the chance to try again. Because gratitude turns struggle into meaning, and meaning makes suffering bearable. And as you continue to rise after every fall, you start to realize that your past failures no longer define you. They refine you. And one day you will look back and understand that every time you got up again, you were not just surviving, you were becoming someone strong enough to carry the life you are building now.